This is Public Access Signals from the Other Side, Part 5. A quick recap before we dive into our night phase, which is what we left off on last time. I'm just going to recap the thing we're focusing on for this night phase, which is the house on Escondido Street. You all answered the question about what happened to the Rappaports, and you just have determined that Abigail Rappaport was tricked by this parasitic evil in the house to open a portal to the other side, which then trapped her and her family with the house forever. We kind of think that Elliot managed to slip his bonds a little bit, and has permanently slipped them because Topher sacrificed themselves to the signal, as it were. Anyway, you have opened up this opportunity, which is to perform a ritual to banish the evil that resides in the house and possibly bring the family back. I think that's still a little up in the air. But in any case, you're ready to do it. It is the night phase. You have decided to watch Astral 09 Pyramid Passage Pure White Contact in the house in Escondido Street in order to do that. But also in the middle of that, you're going to be trying to banish the evil of this house. We're going to dive right in. I assume at least one of you has come up with like a procedure you're going to engage in to do this banishing ritual, because I don't have any notion here. So I'm going to just follow your lead and we're going to see how it goes. I do know that you got a 7 to 9 on your answer a question, so the house is probably going to fight you, but otherwise that is something to be mindful of. It might be worth checking in on the latchkeys as well. A couple of whom have some could be some problematic conditions. We'll see. They're not so bad yet. Probably Ashley's the most in danger as far as conditions go. So yeah, and maybe if Sean needs to concentrate on something in particular, angry might come up. So that's sort of what we're dealing with a little bit there. There's also a special rule here for watching the tape in Escondido Street, which is you will get to collectively define a clue for one of the other mysteries as you're watching the tape. So be mindful of that as well. And furthermore, one of the clues from the Deep Lake Lurker can only be, you don't get credit for it until and unless Topher narrates it into the Odyssey tape. So be mindful of that, Steph. That's the confiscated toys throughout the generations, particularly these doll heads covered in algae as well. That's that clue. But once you do get that clue, though, you'll have a fair number on Deep Lake Lurker also. So, all right. So if there's nothing else to do or any other questions, we will just dive right in. It is nighttime. You are at the house in Escondido Street. The sort of cold blue light of the blank blue screen of the TV is on. You have put the tape inside, settled into the well-worn couch, and pressed play.
The sound of the various heads inside the VCR grow louder and quieter, like a soft desert wind, and the light of the screen, as it starts illuminating the room around the latchkeys, we see the dust on the various surfaces in the room start to glitter a little bit like a fine layer of sand. On screen, the image of the desert is vivid beyond what should be capable on an old TV like this.
In particular, we see sort of this shimmering of the heat that in real life is hard to consistently perceive, but it's there always, giving this slightly shaky, vibrating feel to the tape, as we see in the background, just that constant heat shimmer.
We can't hear you, Steph.
Oh, Steph, if you're talking, we can't hear you. Sorry.
Is this better? Okay. A neon pink title card scrolls up the screen as synthy spacey soundtrack plays behind it. There's a woman who appears on screen. She begins walking through this desert. She's wearing a white caftan and sandals, and her long dark hair has feathers and beads strung throughout it. As she's walking, she bends down and picks up a doll's head that's covered in algae and is quite confused by the sight. And as she does so, the room in Escondido Street, it starts sort of smelling of algae as well.
And then behind all of this, over the desert itself, over Lunaria Gomez, the sun seems so much larger, looming over this desert in the way that it feels like a sun should feel while walking through a desert. A big, oversized, luminous bulb of heat. Obviously, if you were to walk through this desert, the sun would not appear to be that close to the earth, but here it feels right for it to be. And that is when the show's neon pink title card appears overlaid over the image with the synthy, spacey soundtrack, Voyages Through the Astral with Lunaria Gomez.
You press play, or pause, rather. So, you're in the house in Escondido Street. You have some notion of what happened here. Sean, what are you doing right now? Or what is the group doing?
So Sean laid out the thing that looked like Patient's head. Is that gone?
It is gone. There's no trace of it whatsoever.
I think Sean, after they've finished watching what they've seen, he's going to turn to Ashley and Nathan and say, so where do we start here?
For the record, I hate this.
Surprise. Just kidding. That's fine. I think everyone hates this a little bit. Well, if this evil wants a family, maybe we should offer it a family.
Jason,
Maybe
I have a
we
quick
should
question.
lure it out by putting some bait.
No. Jason, I have a
It's
question.
fine.
What's your question?
I took a new move, Sight Beyond Sight. I know it typically applies for the first time I enter a location. Can I use it here?
Sure, that's fine. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I have whether it's premonitions or just a plain old having a hunch, Nathan can kind of glimpse the future a bit now. What's about to happen?
Someone from the past is going to call to one of you from the master bedroom.
Okay. And because I have the sandstone arch marked, why is it about to happen?
They are going to try to isolate that person from the rest of the group.
Okay. So Nathan, while Sean is kind of talking and Ashley's talking about offering up herself, ? Nathan is shining his flashlight down the hallway, kind of the hairs on the back of his neck stand up. He like looks down towards like where the master bedroom is, kind of like looks back at the group and just says, "Hey guys, just here's a thought. Maybe anything that happens, let's make sure that we're sticking together. I don't want to split up. No matter what happens, no matter what we hear, let's stay together. Okay?"
Of course. And I think I will take Sean's hand and Nathan's hand, and I think like kind of flop them down in front of the TV, like, you know, a family watching TV. And then I'll just say like, that includes you, Topher.
The lights flicker on and off.
Topher, you're in the
Fair enough.
room. You're in the room, though no one can see you, obviously. But
Mhm.
that means you can also see things that don't want to be seen yet in the house. For example, there is a young man who you vaguely recognize from pictures Sean has showed you, who is looming over Sean's shoulder, hovering very, very closely, looking up and down, strafing his head back and forth as if trying to peer into Sean's head.
Topher looks at him and says, "You know, that's pretty creepy, right?"
He looks at you and puts up his finger. And then we
Okay, but I
press
don't.
play on the tape.
Lunaria waves toward the arch, taking a small step forward. Her caftan waves in the desert wind, the beads in her hair clacking gently. This, dear viewers, is what I've been teasing since we started this little program. The first gate. She smiles widely, her eyes glinting glassily. And beyond, well, I suppose it's time to find out what's there. Lunaria's smile turns to something almost manic as she takes in a breath and steps forward through the arch. There's a burst of static on the tape, and for a moment, the image resolves into the same location, but filled with a luminous white mist around Lunaria, who seems to be laughing with tears streaming down her cheeks. There's more static, and then the desert is back. Lunaria isn't.
Pause. You have a ritual to get to. What's going to happen here?
So this thing, this parasite, I guess, its whole thing is, there's a portal open, right? I mean, that feels weird to say. There's a portal open in this house. How do you close a portal?
I mean, in movies, you would stand in front of it, trick the person to grab you, dodge, and close it.
But is it
Seems
like
like a way to go.
But is it like is it already here, or is it just like on that side influencing things here?
Maybe it's a TV.
Maybe it's the TV.
Maybe we just burn it down.
I mean, do you think it's possible to save those people?
Probably, right? I mean, we at least have to try.
Look, I'm glad we did whatever we did with the kid, but we haven't seen any sign of the other Rappaports, and maybe our focus should be on saving Topher.
I mean, wherever the family is probably where Topher is, right? There can't be, well, I guess if there's like one alternate dimension, there could be a million.
I have
Just if we have to choose Topher.
Of
yeah,
course, of
no,
course.
of course. I have a weird idea. I don't know. Maybe it's dumb. Maybe it'll do something. We saw
Tell us.
the photo album, the dead squirrels, the pattern that they were arranged in. Maybe if we find a place in the house that the sound in the walls is loudest, maybe that's a good place to start, at least to try. Actually, I don't want to put us in any danger, because let's be honest here, just because we're putting a lot in the back of our brains here. We're dealing literally with something that I don't think any of us know what we're doing, and we're kind of just playing with fire in a really, really bad way. So I'm willing to give it a shot, because I trust that if there is something we can do to help, that would be amazing. But Sean, I agree with you. If nothing else, if we're in over our heads, we need to burn this place down.
All right. Well, let's try opening a door and see what we can pull through.
Let's see if we can find the place where it's loudest.
Topher, this figure who is looming over Sean, picks up an end table lamp. It doesn't seem like the others have noticed this yet. Indeed, to their mind, it's like the lamp doesn't even exist. It just sort of glitches out of existence. But in fact, the figure is holding the lamp up, and it's now suddenly very interested in Nathan, especially when Nathan starts talking about burning the house down. And the figure has raised the lamp up high and looks like it intends to bring it down very hard on Nathan's head. Topher, what do
Ghost
you
fight
do?
time. Topher's gonna body check this motherfucker.
It's going to be the night move. What do you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
I mean, honestly, that Nathan's gonna get brained.
I think it's worse than that. I think that Nathan is going to get brained, and then the figure is going to turn its attention on you since you tried to stop it.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Not every
Is
good,
this with
not every glitch is a good glitch. I think it's going to be
sensitivity?
with just no, because for you, I think it's going to be vitality, actually.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. 7.
7. You're going to, Nathan's going to be okay, but I think that you're going to be like in a tussle with this figure. At the very least, you've prevented it from carrying forward its plans vis-a-vis Sean, kind of, I guess. We'll see. In any case, go ahead and describe how you stop him.
I think that Topher gets like real up in Mark's face and headbutts him right in the bridge of the nose. And as Mark stumbles back and kind of drops the lamp, it shatters on the ground and it glitches back into reality where everyone can see the shattered lamp now at Nathan's feet. And I think the lights begin flickering on and off rapidly as Topher and the ghost of Mark start having a brawl.
Funny wiring in the house. Sometimes things work, sometimes they don't.
Maybe we should take this as a sign to start looking.
But first, we press play on the next part of the tape.
There is more static as the tape flickers back into place, almost as if whatever is happening is affecting it. And we see Lunaria. She is seated in like the lotus position atop this large flat rock. And the image keeps flickering in and out. And every time she looks slightly different. And the hair with all the beads and the feathers going in, there's still these strange. At first, it looks like algae. It looks like coral. It looks like something from the sea, but not quite. It doesn't look like anything any of us has ever seen. It doesn't look like it's from Earth. And she blinks and the screen goes staticky again. And when she opens her eyes, they are the same static, just going all through and then starting to bleed out into the rest of the screen as she blinks with lashes that are too long and somehow sharp looking as the static starts just bleeding out of her eyes.
Nice. I presume that someone did tell Casey Wilcox about what was happening, right? Or is Casey still missing? I can't recall.
Casey's still missing.
Yeah, interesting.
We don't know. Like,
what Casey's deal is. Huh, intriguing. Well, so let's continue.
Yeah, I think Ashley, first of all, she will yell, Topher. And then I think she's going to start pressing her ear against the wall and search the loudest place.
yeah, and I think we're being like we're keeping with the plan. We are sticking together. So if we are examining a room, we are doing it, and then we are staying together, moving on to the next one, listening to the walls.
What are you trying to find exactly?
So because we established that the sound like static and wind behind the walls is
Right.
evidence of the portal, we're trying to find where it's loudest.
Oh, good. I like that. Yeah, that's great. Whose idea was that?
That was Nathan's, I think.
Thank you, Nathan. Yeah.
Nathan's.
Nathan, do the night move with the stakes, or do you find the spot or not? Do the night move with vitality. What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
I'm afraid that That's a good one. I'm afraid that if we don't find it, the time that Topher has bought us by engaging with the entity will expire, and then the house will give its full focus back on us.
Yeah, I think it's worse than that. I think that essentially, it's worse than that. It will cause all the closet doors in the house to open.
Ominous. Still gonna go through with it. Yeah, cool.
Roll with vitality.
Do I have disadvantage?
What are yours? Let's see here.
Soar and Starstruck.
Nah, you're okay.
All right, cool. +0. Here we go. It's a 5.
So the figure wearing the Super Metroid t-shirt, Topher, gets up, dusts himself off, gives you like kind of a wicked smile, and just runs and disappears around the corner. All of the lights go off in the house. The flickering lights that Topher managed to make happen, the TV, all of it. You're plunged into darkness. And you start to hear the counting. 95, 96, but it's multiple voices. 97, 98, 99, the slam of doors opening up all at once, all around the house. 100, here we come.
Gonna
Unless you're
just turn
turning
that
a
key. I'm gonna turn the key of the child.
Indeed. Instead, I think the figure, the guy in the t-shirt still does get up, Topher, and run off towards the master bedroom. Nathan, the master bedroom is where the static is heaviest. Have we been in the master bedroom yet? I don't think we have. Have we? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. All the teal and seaside motif. You're in the master bedroom, and there is a walk-in closet, and that is where the sound is strongest. Sure, I'm getting squelched by Zoom, but it's a
kind of added
sound.
To the effect.
Yeah.
Kind of helped. Yeah.
I hate that Zoom does it. I'm gonna turn that off if I can find out how to do it. It's that closet. That is probably where this all started. Topher, if you are following the group in there, you will see that Super Metroid is also in the room, standing in the opposite corner of the closet, just watching everything. What do you all do?
I think before anyone else can do it, Ashley will step up first and just open the closet and go in. Like, not trying to shake the others, but make sure that I'm the one. And I think I will open it up and just say, well, I think you're lonely and we're here. So why don't you show us the Rappaports and take us instead?
Nathan, the tape keeps playing while you're all in the master bedroom. Or everyone, the tape keeps playing.
There is a great deal of static, as if it's the deterioration of the VHS tape itself, or maybe a lapse in the recording. But it cuts to the last scene. Lunaria is walking toward a great mesa that juts out of the open desert, like an ancient plinth or structure of some truly ancient civilization. And as she's approaching, a series of black and white triangles flicker on the edges of the screen here and there, not quite tangible. But as she gets closer to the mesa, they begin to interlace and become concentric and appear more solid and coalesce towards the base of the mesa itself that she's walking towards, forming a gateway, a portal. You can hear wind and static rushing out of it as Lunaria is stepping toward it, her face completely impassive. And as she's walking in towards the portal, she begins to take off her feathers, her beads in her hair, her white caftan. The sandals come off her feet, and as they hit the desert ground, they flicker on the image and then glitch out of existence. And Lunaria steps into the other side through the portal, and it's like walking into a suddenly zero gravity space as she just kind of floats, almost like a ballet dancer, just daintily moving through the void. The gateway erupts with static and then closes.
Ashley, as Lunaria stepped onto the mesa, so are you. When you step through the closet door, you find yourself in a perfectly sunlit, sun-baked spread of sandy desert. Indeed, if you look down, you are up high on a mesa yourself. You can look back and see the closet door, and all of your companions can also look in and see where you're at. On the far end of the mesa are the 3 remaining Rappapors. They are teetering on the edge. And in between you and them is the big man, his yellow suit shining in the sun, his shadow enormous, stretching out toward you. Sean, Mark steps out of the shadows before you can walk through the closet door. He says, Sean, we have one chance to make this right. We have one chance to put things together. Don't go in there. It's the only hope we have. Topher, Mark is saying that to Sean and looks sincere and plaintive to Sean, but to you, his face is twisted up in a rictus grin, delighted to be playing a trick like this on your friend.
I think that Topher is going to produce their old-timey oil lamp and try and like light it directly sort of beneath Mark's face in hopes that showing this light on it will show the expression to Sean.
That's very good. I like it. This is definitely the night move. What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
That Sean's gonna fall for it.
I think it's worse than that. Whether Sean does fall for it or not, I think Mark gets close enough to take violent action against Sean. Go ahead and roll with reason. I think this is a reason roll.
Haha, I get a +1 to that one. Ooh, 11.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sean, describe it when Mark's true nature becomes apparent to you.
For a second, there's clear doubt on Sean's face, and the confusion is starting to get washed away as maybe he's starting to believe that he was wrong earlier about this not being Mark. But once that strange illumination hits the face and the grin is revealed, I think he's going to try and yeah, he's going to just throw himself a mark in the hopes of pushing him and probably himself into the closet after Ashley.
Ashley and Nathan, I assume you go in as well.
Yeah.
The big man says, I recommend you turn back, not because I have any particular investment in the fate of this family, but I have a keen interest in what happens to you. The entity that lives in this part of the desert is not going to give them up easily. And indeed, the mesa begins to crumble. It's like a video game, like when the floor panels begin falling out, right? It's like that. The mesa is crumbling, leaving big gaps in it. And it's crumbling in particular around the family, trying to either isolate you from the family or to drop them off the edge. Ashley and Nathan, what do you do?
Ashley smiles and she says, well, thank you for that, sir. And you don't know me, so I'll forgive you this, but I don't quit on people. And if we can save them, we must. And I think having said that, I'll take Nathan's hand because he said not to split up. So I'm taking Nathan's hand and I'm sprinting there.
I don't think Nathan fights it. But what he does do, kind of because this idea was lingering in the back of his head, is that we know that Abigail, part of this ritual she did in our theory, involved the arrangement of dead squirrels and a pattern. I forget what pattern we said it was.
Circle kind of thing, I think.
Spiral, maybe? I don't remember.
Spiral.
I don't think we actually said one.
Well, I have an idea. Can we say that it was like it was like a circle?
Sure. Yeah.
Because I have an idea for like open current, closed current.
Okay.
I think what Nathan's doing is, as he's going with Ashley, he's like fumbling through his like bag that he's strapped next to his side to like find some of his paint supplies, because he's getting ready to do something. Once they get through to the other side of the closet again, he's going to do something, but he's just getting ready to do that. So
I think as we sprint, Ashley just starts calling out like, Mr. and Mrs. Rappaport, Abigail, I know you're scared, but you must come with us and you'll see Elliot again. He misses you very much.
I just need a plan for how the three of you are going to navigate this crumbling mesa to get to the family.
Mm-hmm. It's a good question.
Can Topher, so Topher's a bit of a gamer, as we have established. I think that this, as you sort of described it, it is similar to a platformer. What if Topher kind of like ran the path and left GameCube cartridges in the spots that were safe to step?
I like that. Does the group buy into this?
fully.
I love it. I
All
adore
right.
it. That's the
Yeah.
best.
Topher, it's going to be a night move with reason. What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
I'm gonna get eaten by a mesa.
I think it's worse than that. So are the Rappaports. Go ahead and roll with reason.
And can I roll this at advantage if I mark my GameCube in games?
Oh yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Right. That is a 7.
A 7. I think the only complication I'm going to do is you have to erase that item from your list entirely. But otherwise, you succeed. Go ahead and describe. Everyone can kind of take part in the scene here, but just what does it look like to start over?
I think that as Topher realizes what's kind of happening, he's like, "Oh, I've done this like a bunch of times before." The Super Mario Brothers theme song starts playing just through the open air, and we see Topher kind of hyping themselves up and just sprinting toward the Rapapors, jumping from crumbling piece of foundation to crumbling piece of foundation, dropping one of her favorite games each time she takes a step so that then the others know where to go. And yeah,
Sean, take the next part of the narration.
I think Sean, also a gamer, recognizes the setup here, and he does CrossFit. This is his shit. He will kind of just take a step back and crouch down, swing his arms back, and throw himself forward, landing quite cleanly on the next platform. And he'll hold out a hand to Ashley or whoever is following next.
Keep it going, Ashley.
Yeah, Ashley is not a gamer, but she knows Stouffer and she trusts Stouffer and Sean. So I think like as soon as you land, she will grab your hand. And I think she keeps calling out to the Rapapors to, stay put, to trust them that it's going to be okay. And I think she just starts repeating that as we are dodging all these crumbles. Just, it's going to be okay. We're going to be all right. We're almost there. And I think like at the last moment, she kind of like shares a glance with Nathan and just gives him like almost this like excited grin. Like this is a game and we're just having fun and it's gonna be fine.
Nathan,
Yeah, so-
describe the final moments of rescuing the Rapapors.
Yeah, so Nathan's not having fun, but when they finally make it to the Rapaports, I think, there's 3 Rapaports, 3 of us. We are each going to like grab one. Nathan grabs onto Abigail and begins to pull them back towards the doorway. I think they look, at least feel free to override this, I feel like they look somewhat intangible and they're kind of glitching a little bit. So they're not really like responsive, they're more like frozen. And we're pulling them back, running the path. Everything is crumbling around us. It's like also the ending of like Coraline. We are like at our heels falling apart, and we managed to dive through to the other side, back into 18 Escondido. And that entire time with a free hand, Nathan was fumbling, desperately trying to find something he brought with him in his art bag, something that maybe it'll be able to help us. Maybe it'll do something. It's a wild idea, but weirder things have been happening. When we get through the other side of the closet, he finally finds it. It's a box of old crayons that he had at the very bottom of his satchel. He takes them out, and at the very like threshold of the closet floor where it meets the open space of the rapidly shutting, collapsing mesa, he grabs a handful of the crayons and draws a single like line at the base of it. Close the circuit, close signal, off. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't, but that is what he does.
The tape also ends. As you're all leaving Escondido Street, it's not nighttime anymore. It's daytime. You can hear a de-aged Casey Wilcox in Elliot's bedroom. They're fighting over whose turn it is to go next on the Super Nintendo. Sherry Rappaport is calling to Abigail, who's splashing around in the pool. And Hugh Rappaport comes up to the 3 of you and says, "Hey, thanks for coming by. Feel free to stop by anytime."
Will do.
Sean's kind of got his hands on his knees, panting, looks up at this and says, there were 4 of us. Did you see our friend?
Hugh smiles and says, Were there 4 of you?
I think that Topher turns on a car radio and it starts playing Our House in the middle of our street.
Nice. That's a perfect ending to the night maze. Bum 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 bum. Let's go to the dawn. On your dawn questions, don't forget that this goes back to last session as well, so you might have to think back a bit. But let's collect rewards. You get to collect rewards now that you have resolved the house on Escondido Street. I'm gonna just clip them and drop them into chat, but I will read them for sake of people watching the video so they know what we're doing. Elliot Rappaport becomes a recurring side character. You have unlocked this reward, and so as long as someone takes it, then he will be available to you as a recurring side character. Casey Wilcox becomes a recurring side character. You get 1 extra clue on the meddling move when you consult him about matters related to Deep Lake's young people. You can get Bill Hanscom's personal cell phone number and add it to your corner of the house. Or there are 3 mementos from the investigation. Ask another latchkey what it is, and then add it to your corner of the house. And these mementos can be, they don't have to be something that we actually saw, just it can be something implied from the story. So whoever wants to pick something first, say so.
I think it would be cool if I took the Elliot reward. I think it might be neat if Elliot's the only one out of the Rappaports who can see Topher just because of the whole weird
Yeah,
link
your
they
connection.
have.
Yeah.
Oh my
yeah,
God,
absolutely.
you're Elliot's imaginary friend.
Oh my
That is
God,
amazing.
Topher's Elliot's imaginary friend. Oh, that's sad.
Love it. All right, that's one thing chosen.
I think Sean wouldn't know what to do with it, but I'll take the phone number.
Very good.
I mean, I would have been so mad if you didn't. So mad. I would like Casey Wilcox to become a recurring side character. Sure.
Fabulous. And so I guess that just leaves a memento. Who do you want to give it to you, Nathan?
I would love a memento from Sean. So Ben, I'd love to hear what you got in mind.
I think Abigail had borrowed some books on occult business from the library to get this ritual right, and I think you walk out with one.
Fabulous.
Cool.
Rewards are collected. Let's answer Dawn questions. Everyone's getting credit for the first one, which is, did you resolve a mystery? So congratulations. Let's keep going. Ashley, were you vulnerable with someone since the last Dawn phase?
Yeah, I think so. Last session with Sean, like apologizing and
Oh, yeah.
promising to be better, etc.
Did you cut loose for once?
I feel like a little bit like the narration of her just like having so much fun in this awful moment. I
I'll
feel like
take
it kind of counts.
Nathan, did you receive a signal from the other side?
I did. I narrated a few of them, but like I think the main one I was focusing on was the portal sounds coming through the astral gateway, and also the thing she was dropping, like the lamp turned to static and glitched out of reality.
Oh yeah. Were you vulnerable with someone?
Yeah, I was vulnerable with Topher last session.
Did you go out of your way to reconnect with Deep Lake?
I am now the wingman of
oh, that's right.
Mr.
Yeah,
Stosky.
of Mr. Stosky. Yeah. Fabulous. Topher, did you share a good memory from your childhood?
Actually, I think no, that was not last session, so I don't think so.
Were you vulnerable with someone?
Absolutely, with Nathan during the whole Bob Ross thing.
Absolutely. Sean, did you receive a signal from the other side?
He had to step away, so he posted his responses in the chat.
Signal was leaping through the closet like Lunaria and the Arch, yes. Vulnerable, being honest with others about his feelings, and Ashley, yes. Cutting loose, hitting Patient's head, and talking back to Mark. Yeah, I'll take it. Okay, great. So Dawn questions are sorted. You can mark new ones if you wish. Do we have any moves that are resolved during the Dawn phase? I don't think so. And that just leaves key prompts. Who owes a key prompt?
I have a key prompt for the Key of the Child, a flashback to when you first discovered TV Odyssey. We see a very young Nathan back in the late 80s, so very, very young Nathan. He is in the family room. It is a Saturday morning. There's the smell of eggs and bacon, and behind him on a coffee table is a green porcelain bowl filled with drying chunky oatmeal that he horked down with his spoon. He is currently lying on the floor in front of the TV. He has a coloring book in front of him, a pack of crayons, and is just like any young kid would, holding a crayon full fist and just kind of violently scribbling in colors here and there. He's just kind of, placidly staring at it. And he flips the channels a few times as he kind of gets bored doing the colors, and gets to Disney Channel to watch DuckTales, but it's not working. The signal is particularly weak. He calls for his dad, who comes and checks the rabbit ears, but sorry, kiddo. Maybe we'll check later. And little Nathan is not good at showing his emotions, so he's just kind of slate face as he just kind of huffs and just sits down and just is bored. And eventually, just to have something to stimulate his hands, as he's kind of boiled up with internal anxiety over not being able to watch his weekly DuckTales, he just begins to flick channels idly. 70, 71, 72, 80, 90, 91, 92, 93, channel 94. And he sees all the other signals have been weak. It's a bad day for cable, but this is a crystal clear image. A picture so bright and colorful and focused that it's almost like you're viewing a printed page. No static, no distortion. And it's a beautiful Saturday morning cartoon that is playing. The music flares up, and you can see in Nathan's like wide eyes the reflected chromatic, like kaleidoscopic array just like visible over his retinas, and he just kind of goes into a daze staring at this colorful cartoon. He doesn't even know what he's watching. It is entrancing him. And literally, he is in a trance, and he does not notice what's happening around him as he's watching the TV. The characters on the screen says, "All right, kids, get ready for this one. Nathan, welcome to the show." As actual colored ink begins to ooze out of the TV, slightly bleeding out. Reds, greens, purples, blacks just drip onto the floor, and Nathan begins to like put a hand out towards the TV when there's a sharp call and says from his mom, says, "Nathan, I need your help doing the dishes, honey." And he like snaps out of it and goes, "Oh, coming, mom." And he just absentmindedly flicks off the TV, not looking at it. But what he doesn't see is that as he was reaching towards it, every cartoony character on the screen was leering at him with hungry smiles, and then a sudden angry expression as he reaches for the power switch, and then it flicks off, and there's no colors on the ground, and then he runs off to help his mom with the dishes.
Fantastic. Thank you. Do we have any other keys? Yep. Okay, in that case, let's take a 10-minute break so I can get the next thing set up, and then we'll come back and we're gonna have kind of a slightly abbreviated day phase because I want to get through another night phase before we end today. So let's just take 10 though, and I'll see you in a bit. It's the day phase. I think this is going to be a pretty abbreviated day phase because I'm trying to end our session at a certain point. So I'll introduce the brand new mystery, and then we'll have what will essentially just be some downtime scenes, I think, and then kind of roll straight into dusk. So it is a brand new day phase. There is a new mystery. You can follow along on the mysteries tab if you wish. That new mystery is Zagreus. In the summer of 1985, 5 teenagers went missing from Deep Lake. Hutch Langley, Dieter Hoskins, Finn Carlson, Rachel Urieta, and Monique Jeffries. Prior to their disappearance, the teens frequented the Galaxia Arcade, playing games from opening until close. One day they stopped, and when school started back up, they were noticeably somber, even morose, all possessing a newfound obsession with death. The last picture taken of them before they vanished was featured in the school's yearbook. It showed the 5 teens sitting along the edge of the highway wearing t-shirts that said the Styx Society. It was badly silkscreen t-shirts. To this day, no one knows what happened to them, and their families have long since left the desert behind in search of a fresh start. 3 years ago, the game discussion forum Vector Void exploded with activity over a thread titled, "Does anyone remember Zagreus?" The original poster asked about an arcade game they vaguely remembered hearing of in the 80s, but had not been able to find anything about. Several users responded, each claiming to know details of this mysteriously niche game. Nothing was concrete, however, until a user called Synkerly308 posted that Zagreus was developed by a company called Vertex Electronica, which closed in 1999. The user claimed to have interned there while the game was in development, though hadn't worked on it themselves. Additionally, they said the game has secret levels that can only be accessed via unusual methods, though they did not indicate what those methods are. When other users connected the location of Vertex Electronica's old office, Deep Lake, New Mexico, with stories of the Styx Society and their disappearance, an urban legend about a cursed arcade cabinet was born. You play the game, you disappear. I'm going to direct the following to a latchkey of my choice. It's going to be Sean. Sean, you're still active on the Vector Void forum. Lately, a user named Adafoy85 has been posting cryptic and hostile responses on any threads still discussing Zagreus. What harrowing message have you received from Adafoy85 suggesting they aren't just some troll and may actually be a threat to your safety?
I think shortly before leaving for Deep Lake, Sean got a message on the forum's private messaging system from Adafoy saying just a simple no punctuation message, stay out of Deep Lake. And when Sean deleted it, it popped back into his inbox. When he messaged some moderators, they had no record of this message. And it seems like Adafoy is monitoring Sean's actual location.
Now the mystery. A Zagreus cabinet was found 1 week ago. Ephraim Goldman, the owner of the Galaxia Arcade here in town, discovered it in a lot auction at the Me and My self-storage facility on the outskirts of town. Immediately recognizing the popularity of its surrounding legend, he had it installed at the shop and advertised its existence on Vector Void. Enthusiasts have started traveling from all over the country to play it. What the hell? Maybe you can see if it's worth the hype. You have 2 questions here. You'll notice neither of them resolve the mystery. That's important. The first question is related to Attafoy. Who is Attafoy 85 and why are they doing this? It's a complexity 4. It allows you to remove them as a danger in this mystery by unmasking them and then either convincing them to let this situation go or otherwise neutralizing the threat they pose. Second question, how do you access Zagreus's secret levels that were referred to on the forum? That's a complexity 2, and it unlocks a new move, press start. You also have a key here, the key of the palace. Each latchkey narrates a dream they once had of the occluded king sitting upon a blood-red throne, wearing a bramble crown, reigning over the realm of the dead. An interesting mystery, intriguing things going on here. Much, much more to learn. You have just the basics at this point. But in any case, it's the day phase. Normally, I ask you all what you want to do, and I will. But not before I tell you that the very next day, after the events at Escondido Street, the 3 of you, you're there as well, Topher, but the 3 of you who are corporeal, wake up to the smell of bacon frying in a pan downstairs, the distinct sound of eggs being cracked on the edge of a bowl. Someone is whistling while they work down in the kitchen. Now, each of you might just think it's another one of the latchkeys, but what do you all do?
I think Nathan is hungry. Like he probably slept like a rock after the events of last night. He was exhausted. So he just will, in his PJs of his plaid pajama pants and t-shirt, just kind of sleepily stumble downstairs for coffee and food, because that sounds kind of awesome right now.
Yeah, the coffee is brewing as well. Sean, what do you do?
I think he will pop out of his room shortly after Nathan passes by and kind of nod a good morning. And then
Morning.
Ashley must be cooking. So yeah, he'll start following Nathan down.
Yeah,
And
Nathan
then
says,
Ashley.
"Oh yeah."
Yeah, I think Ashley just like kind of sits up and she's like, shit, I overslept. Because, I do feel like breakfast is Ashley's business. And I think she's just like numing out, just like probably like a t-shirt that's too big, like gets on the socks, like hair going everywhere. And she's just like running down and she's like, I'll do it, it's fine. And just like rushing in the kitchen.
I think as she like thunders past us on the stairs, Sean and I look at each other, and then we realize what's happening, and we quickly make our way into the kitchen because now we realize that something's up.
As he passes Nathan's door, I think Sean will take his pull-up bar off.
Topher, do you sleep?
That's a great question. I feel like, yeah, I think the TV in the living room is like just playing mattress commercials on loop, and Topher's sleeping in all of them. And when they eventually wake up and realize kind of what's going on, I think Topher's gonna flip open their laptop and play Mr. 5x5, assuming that's what's happening.
Indeed. As the 3 of you get into the kitchen, you do see the big man. He is standing at your stove. He is making breakfast. He is dressed as he always is, with his yellow suit and his cowboy hat and his bolo tie with the sun face. But he's also wearing this like comically on him small apron that says "Kiss the Cook." And he's like looming over the breakfast and making, And he kind of sees you as you come in. And he says, well, look at you, sleepyheads. I thought you were going to while away the day in bed. Couldn't blame you, really. You had such a long night.
Hello. Just sit down. I'll make you breakfast. I don't know how you got in, but
I just
Ashley, do not cook
squeezed
for
through
the
the
stranger in
crack.
the kitchen.
Does Sean look like he's squaring up?
Sean's got the bar. Yeah,
I
he's
think
ready.
I think Nathan like reaches over, like just lightly put like a hand over against like his chest and be like, hold on, I've met this guy.
Topher turns the volume up on Mr. 5x5.
And I think Topher has too.
All of
Um,
you, have a seat. It's all right, dear. Have a seat. I will bring breakfast to you. This is payment from the community, we'll say, for the tremendous service you have rendered to it.
yeah, okay.
I've made many a breakfast in my time. Back when I used to camp on the trails in my youth. Of course, back then we just had canned beans and beef jerky. Nowadays, things are so freely available. You can just walk down to the store and get a dozen eggs and don't even have to put your hand in a shit-flecked chicken coop. It's incredible.
truly the marvels of modern society.
Just so everyone's aware really quickly. Yeah, we as Sean, Ashley, as you might remember last night, we met this gentleman. Where he was there. I met him earlier as well. He gave us our most recent tape.
Which I know you have not watched yet.
I have
We
not.
have a few of them.
I
But
did
thank
give
you.
you another tape as well to your poor separate friend. How do you like your eggs? I prefer mine sunny side up.
That's the only way to make them.
As
Yeah.
you all settle in for breakfast,
I'm actually a fan of Over Easy, but okay, yeah, fine.
he is dishing out your breakfast. He doesn't look good. His flesh hangs like it almost sometimes seems like it is barely hanging on the bones, like it kind of slides, revealing just a little bit too much eye and socket from time to time. The skin is weirdly translucent in places. You can see blood pumping through fine veins. And his fingers, in addition to having 6 on each hand, they are all the same length except for the thumb. The other 4 are just like identical length. It's very weird. And he, or other 5, he's doling out the food with a absurdly small looking little, spatula in his hand. And he's being very doting. How do you like your coffee? Oh, let me get you the salt and pepper, etc., and so forth. And of course, we're in New Mexico, so I'm sure there's also a variety of hot sauces to choose from, which is the only way to eat eggs, if I do say so myself.
You're allowed to be wrong.
Mhm.
You've never
Once you're-
had green chili, I can tell.
No, green chili, yes, 100%.
As you're settling in to eat, he says, so how are those tapes going? Have you figured out what happened to that TV station yet?
We're on it. And the
Not
tapes were
really.
pretty gnarly.
Do you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, you clearly have at least a couple of tapes.
You know, it's quite possible that you are looking at those tapes in the wrong way, he says as he stabs a couple sausages and puts them on his own plate. You think
Enlighten
you're
us.
looking for clues about what happened in the past, but the Odyssey tapes are just as good at predicting the future, you see. They're a little bit like tarot cards in that way. The characters on the tapes are icons, archetypes, if you will. Except if the tarot tells the story of humanity's journey to enlightenment, the tapes tell the story of humanity's inevitable regression. And don't you mistake it, humanity is always trying to return to that primal place, that ancient and evil state. The past is prologue and all that. Or put another way, let's rewind and not be kind.
Well, thank you for that philosophical insight.
I do go on from time to time. It is a habit of mine.
Sorry, I must. Who are you, and how did you get in here?
I'm the wanderer, so called because I wander wherever I like.
Very apt name then. And do you know what happened to the station? You have tapes, obviously, and you know about Topher.
I've never had much of a taste for television. I consider it the sort of thing that rots the brain, he says as his rotting flesh slides around on his cheekbones.
If you're last night, you said that you had been an interest in what happens to us. Why?
Because you are the only ones who have thought to come here and ask the questions.
There's that. All the people on the forum were the only ones.
It's funny, the roads in and out of Degoya County seem awfully straight if glanced from a bird's eye view, but once you get on them, they tend to twist you up, spit you out, turn you around. But here the three of you are. Well, you're 3 plus 1. How are you doing in there, my dear?
I think a commercial for Denny's is playing and Topher's eating. Kind of just shrugs. It's like, could be better.
Well, all right then. You know, you enjoy your breakfast. I have to go meander about.
Before you go, are you all right?
Well, I suppose no. My dear, I fear the seams that hold our reality together are ready to burst, and many-mouthed horrors will begin spilling forth from those tears in the cosmic fabric. I suppose my condition reflects this turn of events. But don't feel bad for me. There are opportunities as well. TV Odyssey is closer than ever, or at least the doorway to it will be. First the dangers, then the doorway. That's all.
Yeah, it do always be like that, huh? First the dangers, then the doorway.
Yes, but is it an exit or an entrance? This is the important question.
I
For
mean,
your sake, it better be an exit.
Isn't every exit also an entrance and every entrance an exit?
How fabulously philosophical of you, Miss Oakes. Tuck in. Tune in. Don't burn out. And he's gone.
We made a new friend.
I'm not hungry anymore. Nathan gets up and walks back out away from the table.
The eggs are pretty good.
Yeah, they're not bad.
Okay.
So that was something.
It sure was. That man was huge.
Yeah.
Did he look weird to you guys? He's kind of
He should play
staticky for me.
basketball. Oh, no, I mean, he looked weird, but not staticky weird.
Huh.
I'm
Did you
sorry,
see
that
He
was
looked
such
that
an
way the
fingers?
first time I saw him.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, you remember when we were looking into the lurker a couple weeks back on well he that's where I got Astral 09. He gave it to me while I was talking with Joey.
That's
But he looked like,
nice,
you
I
know,
guess.
I mean, he looked like real.
Mhm.
But now when I look at him, it's kind of just TV static, and it's real bad when he talks.
Oh, but we still look. Do we look like static too?
Not any more than this shitty monitor makes it.
Somebody from the off screen on TV calls to Topher. We're shooting a commercial here. You can't just like stop and start talking in the middle of it.
I know, I'm talking with your demographic. Hello.
Okay, so let's do this right now. We need a couple of shots showing you enjoying the food. Moons over my hammy, all that. What do you think?
Well, I mean, it's
I don't need
pretty
you to
good as far as
discourse over
standings
it. There's no dialogue in the commercial. I just need you to
Shit.
react. Just show us how much you love these delicious fried potatoes. See, this is what we get when we get non-union actors. That's all I'm saying. All right. Let's get another take. Meanwhile.
Yeah, I think I'll go check up on Nathan. He seemed a little spooked. Are you okay?
Yeah.
For real?
Close enough.
Okay.
And I think when Ashley leaves, Sean's gonna look around and say, "Of course I get stuck with the fucking dishes."
Let's just have one more scene per character, and then we'll wrap the day phase. So think about what you want to do for your one scene, whether that be a nostalgic move or if you want to do some light investigation, that's fine as well. Who has an idea?
I actually wanted to have a scene because I took an advancement. I took a new move, and I think it would be cool to kind of narrate coming into it.
Okay, if you're ready, do it now. Yeah.
For sure. So I think that as Sean's, starting to get doing on the dishes, the front door opens and closes as Topher walks out. And she starts just walking down the street, trying to get any sort of semblance of normalcy in their life again. But all these fucking cameras keep staring at them, and it's pretty rough. And she takes a moment and sits on a bench once they get to a park and just kind of start like sobbing into their hands for a moment before feeling a like actually feeling like a wet dog's tongue licking their hand. And very confused, they kind of look up and immediately their eyes light up and they say, Mr. W? And there's a pit bull, just as ghostly and weird as Topher is now. And they get down on their knees and hug this dog as the camera pulls back.
Who let a dog in the shot? Come on. Meanwhile, Sean, what kind of scene do you want for your 1 day scene here?
So before we get to that, I took the truth is out there. So I believe I get an Odyssey tape.
Oh, is that something that happens at the beginning of the day phase?
We immediately get an Odyssey tape when you take this move.
Oh, very good. I think you all notice that Big Man left his cowboy hat on the counter. And when you lift it up, there's a tape sitting there. Now, whether Big Man left it there or some other shadowy figure, we don't know. But in any case, you have your tape. And the tape is going to be, I want my video beat.
Excellent. Then I think Sean would, I mean, he can't not go to the arcade if Zagreus is here.
Sounds good to me. Nathan, what do you want to do today?
I think we're going to have a nostalgic move between Nathan and Ashley here. I think that's what's being set up. So Nathan is currently just going to be in his room. Like he kind of like went back to shower and get ready, and he's just been back in his room.
Yeah, I think we see Ashley, like right as she goes to leave, she goes to the cupboard and or the fridge and takes out a cupcake that she made, hoping that maybe Nathan wants to eat that. And I think we see her go to her room for a second. I think like we kind of see her do that awkward little trail in front of Nathan's room and like, okay, fine. Like she doesn't quite knock and then storms to like goes to her room and she'll take a post-it, like another sticky note. And I think she just writes down the words, I'm really sorry. I think you're great. And then takes a little plate for the cupcake, puts the cupcake on it, puts the note, like, you know, like, so it's readable, puts it in front of his door and then just like kind of goes to run, like being behind the corner.
I think Nathan opens his door after like a minute, like looks down, looks left, looks right, doesn't see Ashley, and just like kneels down, looks at the cupcake, just kind of like stares at it for a moment, kind of like an unreadable expression. Kind of walks back into his room and closes the door. And my idea for this nostalgic move is that like since we're doing like a compacted day phase, Nathan's follow-up that will lead into the move happens later in the day. So like a few hours later. I don't know if what Ashley does after that, but essentially like whenever Ashley's like in her room next, like we see that like Nathan walks up to her door and in the very same way, knock, 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 you know, kind of just standing awkwardly. He considers bolting, but he just actually kind of like stands there and just like, yeah, then like knocks once more awkwardly for added measure.
Ashley opens the door, says, "Oh, hi. Hi. How you doing?"
Hey, I'm good. I thank you for the cupcake.
Of course.
It was really tasty. I also wanted to thank you for the note.
Oh, yeah.
And
Sorry.
I had some Thank you. But I also had something I wanted to give you. So I, that kind of spurred me to finish it. It's still drying, so do you mind if it's back in my room. If you don't like, I can just show it to you. I didn't want to bring it out when it's like still like damp. So
Yeah, of course. I mean, you really didn't have to. I
I was,
shouldn't have been so shitty to you. And I mean, you don't have, but
I think
she's following as
yeah,
she's going.
I think when she says that, Nathan just kind of like looks at her and just goes, like opens his mouth to speak, kind of looks like he doesn't know what to say, and just kind of like nods and then just turns around and like awkwardly shuffles off to his room. But when they get back there, like, yeah, they walk in and he just kind of goes over to his little like side table, which he mostly uses for his like art stuff. And he picks up this little like coffee mug that he grabbed from their kitchen cabinet. It's kind of like glistening slightly because it is covered in still drying Mod Podge. And as he's grabbing it, he's like very awkwardly just being like, well, I mean, like, this isn't exactly like the best thing, but I couldn't find a pottery store in Degoya County. And so I didn't have a kiln to like properly like, set paint. So I use Mod Podge. So the paint, like, so that will be fine, but it's not microwave safe. It is dishwasher safe. So you can't use it for like mugs because the vinyl will melt. And he's just kind of like talking. You see that he's got bad cotton
Yeah.
mouth. Like but he picks up awkwardly and just goes and just like here. And he hands over to her because yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I think like as he's like going, I think Ashley will just like very gently take his hand and just say like, it's perfect, Nathan.
He gives it, like holds it over to her and just kind of has to like break eye contact because he's very nervous all of a sudden. And he's painted something on the mug, and that's why he's coated in Mod Podge to protect it. There's kind of two things going on here. The first thing is a very colorful, not like photorealistic, but hyper realistic, very colorful depiction of Ashley's lyrebird that he's painted on there. And it is opening its beak, and there's a little speech bubble coming out of it that just says, "I'm sorry, I'm bad at words." And it's, I'm sorry, period. I'm bad at words, period. And then much cruder in the background, he's painted essentially a little cartoonish, almost stick figure like Nathan, who's just like in the background, just basically he just has like stick arms, and you can see that he's wearing the blazer thing, and his head's just a little squat oval with like wide eyes and a nervous demeanor, just kind of like doing this like meager little like wave in the faint background. And he just says, I also wanted to say I'm sorry for what happened in the car. So
I think she sees it and she just, oh, sorry, go ahead. Yeah, she sees it, and I think she just like sees the lyrebird, and she's like, Lila, you painted Lila. She's
did.
perfect.
I'm
And
glad.
she just kind of looks at it, puts it down, just like, Nathan, thank you. Nobody ever made me anything. Just thank you. And I think she'll hop forward and just hug him really
he's like,
close.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, no, you told me that. Listen, I'm really bad at words. Ashley, I'm not good at a lot of things emotionally, but you told me yourself that like making things for people is a really good way to show appreciation for them. And I didn't think saying sorry would be enough. So I just wanted to make that for you. Can we just talk for a moment really quick? Not a lot of talking. I just wanted to, he kind of like breaks the hug a little bit. He looks like, yeah, okay, this is nice. I'm leaning into it, but wait, hold on. Actually, wait, pause. I got to put distance between us for a second. And he says, I'm not okay. We're not okay. And I know that you're also not okay, but I do want to take back what I said. I don't think I know you like to be optimistic. I know you like to stay positive. I get that 100%. And I don't want you to, if that's what you need to do for you to keep going, Ashley, then I want you to keep doing that. But I just also want you to know that sometimes that hurts me. And I'm trying to figure that out and process that, and just letting you know that it affects me sometimes, but I do want to try and change how I look at that, and also realize that that is what makes you safe sometimes. And just, yeah.
Okay. Well, a few things. First of all, you're not bad at words, Nathan. It's fine if you don't always find the right ones, because often there aren't any right ones. So don't say that about yourself, or I will have to get mad. Two, I really am fine. I mean, awful stuff is happening, sure, but I mean, generally speaking, well, I guess I'm going to be fine. And I'm just like speeding up the timeline of it all, you know? Just it's fine. And third, just tell me, I guess, when I do hurt you before we start shouting.
I will. I'm sorry that I didn't.
It's okay. I kind of started it. That's on me.
That feels like scene. Are you both clearing sore because you're emotionally less sore at each other now?
I think that's fair.
Yeah, and I gather that passing notes was the thing that takes us back there.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm happy with whatever angle, because we both kind of did some nostalgic possible
The
ideas, but
painting, yeah.
Yeah, I think passing notes is one
I
that
like the
felt
passing
salient
notes.
to me.
Yeah, I like that one a lot.
So in that case, you get to stumble on the clue, Nathan. So be thinking about what that clue is. Pick up with Sean. And so Sean, you're going to the Galaxia arcade, right?
Yes.
Topher, I'll just say that that's a place loaded up with monitors if you want to be there as well. So you're
Yeah.
probably no better place for you to show up, in fact.
Yeah.
The Galaxia arcade. So when you arrive, Sean, there is a line out the door. If you manage to kind of like get in, maybe walking past the end of the line a little bit, there's a pervasive smell of dust, old sweat, and cheap pizza, which is, depending on your point of view, a great smell or a wretched smell. But in any case, there is also the sort of stuttering grind of an underperforming AC unit, probably contributing to the smell of old sweat. Let's paint the scene, everyone. The Galaxia arcade was the place to be for any tween or teen in late 1980s Deep Lake. What is your favorite memory from the Galaxia arcade, and what still persists into the present day that reminds you of it?
I think Sean's favorite memory were the afternoons spent playing the 4-player X-Men game with his brother and whoever else was passing by. And he was always Storm, of course. And it's still there, looks a little faded now, but as he passes by, he can't help but let his eyes linger.
Everybody gets to say.
I think that Topher's going to show up in there as well. And as they're walking around, even beneath all of the extra cameras and weird shenanigans that go on with being on this other side, they can still see this. I think they have a very small computer game section, and there's still a very old, at this point, very weathered poster of the Rogue video game.
Nathan's absolute favorite memory from the Galaxia arcade was when he and the scant few friends he had in town at that time would like to gather around and play either Dragon's Lair or Space Ace, the Don Bluth arcade games that were notoriously difficult. Nathan loved them though, because the idea of like animation and a game, like a Don Bluth cartoon that I can play, holy crap. He loved that. And the Space Ace cabinet is long gone. The Dragon's Lair cabinet, however, is still there all these years later. And the colors on the buttons and sticks have all been worn down by so many hands, like wearing it down and out of frustration. Yeah.
I think Ashley wasn't necessarily that much for games, but came along with friends and others. And I think she really loves to get the strawberry milkshake in the bar. And I think like while the bar may or may not still be there and the strawberry shake's probably not being served anymore, but I think whenever she drank that, she looked at this pink neon sign that just said dream on. And I think that sign is still there and it still flickers.
John and Topher, you see a man who's kind of old and wiry with jaundiced eyes and a big 4-barrel coin changer on his belt, who's sort of managing the line, right? He seems delighted that all these people are here to play Zagreus, right? And you can see the line is going to Zagreus. You are not going to get on there anytime soon unless you come up with some great way of doing it. But he's like, yeah. No rush here. That's okay. $2 and change. You sure? You might need more than that. And he's like, click, giving him quarters. And he's delighted when he sees you come in, Sean. He's like, oh, if you're here to play Zagreus, the line starts outside on the sidewalk, I'm afraid.
Oh, I was actually just hoping to see it, really, just to lay my eyes on it. I can't believe it's real.
I couldn't believe my luck. I mean, been almost 20 years since we featured it last time. We did have it way back then. I mean, back then nobody wanted to play the thing. There wasn't that much interest in it. I mean, even before all that unpleasantness in '85. But now that it's aged into one of those urban legends, oh, it's gangbusters. Oh, one moment. Hey, folks, are we having a good time? All right, if you need some quarters, I'm right over here. A few games on me, your old pal FG. This is Ephraim Goldman, FG Goldman, the owner of the Galaxia. So what are the two of you doing? I'll give you a chance to take one significant action, I guess, while you're here.
I feel like Topher might be in a better position to actually get to Zagreus than Sean is. But maybe Sean will try and talk to whoever is currently playing it.
Yeah, that sounds good. I think if you make your way up to the front, I think there's like a kid who just finished. He just loses his last life or whatever. You hear the little game over, wah, wah, wah. And he's like, oh, and the next kid's like, hey, it's my turn. And that kid gets off. So there's one kid that just finished if you want to talk to him.
Yeah, I'll talk to that kid.
So he's like, well, I mean, it wasn't a GameCube or an Xbox, but I guess it was kind of cool. I don't know what the fuss is.
Well, it's old and old things are cool.
He's like, he looks at you and he's like, yeah, I guess you're old. Are you cool?
I'm 26, man. Come on.
Like I said.
And yes, I am fucking cool. But so can you tell me about it? Like what was it like?
Do the meddling move with presence. Yeah. Do you think his little jibe at your age would make you angry?
Oh, yeah, I'm already angry.
That's
So
what I'm saying. Yeah, like, do you think it would like,
yeah, his jaw will
Be-
clench a little bit.
yeah, roll at disadvantage then?
That's 11.
Oh, very good. What are you doing in the meantime, Topher?
I think that Topher's getting an idea sort of similar to the veins of when he just swiped those keys. And I think knowing that sometimes they just show up in screens, I think they're gonna try and get into Zagreus.
Hmm. I think that Zagreus will probably fight you on that. It's gonna be the night move in this dim arcade. What are you afraid is gonna happen if you fail?
That I won't be able to get out of Zagreus.
Indeed, you will become the final boss of Zagreus. Go ahead
That's
and
pretty badass, actually.
roll with the sensitivity. And that's, yeah, just sensitivity.
Okay. Ooh, 10.
Very good.
I think I want to mark a mask and bump it up to a 12, mostly because I want to mark a mask.
Oh, interesting. Okay. All right, I'm into this. Pick up a
Or
Sean.
a key, my bad.
Yeah, I know what you meant. I have to decide whether I'm going to give you history or give you a tape. I'll think about it. Meanwhile, Sean, though, I will pick up with you. The kid's like, yeah, I mean, it was okay. I mean, I've read all the stuff about this that other people have. Like, you play it and you go missing, and so I suppose it looks like there's going to be about 100 missing kids in Deep Lake pretty soon, based off this line.
I mean, we could stand to lose a few.
He's like, yeah, I know, right? He's like, people my age are a piece of shit. I'm being honest.
You're not on Vector Void, are you?
No, I'm not on Vector Void because I'm not a loser.
Right. Yeah.
It's the worst. He says, so yeah, it was okay. It was not like, not, I mean, whatever. It was not that big of a deal. Just a little guy running around like shooting little monsters in what I think was supposed to be like the underworld or something. It's, I don't know, it's a little strange. He says, but well, I don't know. There was one kind of weird thing, I guess, that I might have to go onto Vector Void to see what it's about. Ugh.
Tell me. Maybe I can provide some context being so old.
Yeah, well, okay. So when I was playing, well, when I was playing, I kept running into this character that walked up to my character and they pulled out what looked like a knife, which, okay, whatever. But then they just like stabbed my character to death repeatedly with little pixelated spurts of blood. And then I thought, like, wait, did I just lose my quarter? And like, I went through like 6 lives that way. I never got to go past even the first chamber. Like, it just started, and this guy ran up and like stabbed my guy to death. But then when I played again, it didn't happen again. It was like it just happened. I went through some weird glitchy little loop in the game or something. I don't know. Strange. What kind of game kills you right away and you can't do anything about it?
I mean, sounds like one you need to get good at.
It's like he just like he looks at your t-shirt, which I assume has like some kind of Zelda or something, Atari. There we go. He's like, cool shirt, bro. And then he walks off.
clue there is the characters die at the start.
You can interpret it however you want, but there was a little brief 6 lives run for this kid where another character ran up and just stabbed his character to death right at the beginning. That was it. Topher, I think in the interest of time here, I'm going to say that what you've earned is the ability to just go into the Zagreus machine as you wish with your die roll. I am going to give you a bonus as well. I think, let me take a look at the move. You'll find an Odyssey tape or you learn some unusual history about Dagoya County. My choice. I think I'll settle that, not in this scene, but I'll owe it to you, one of those. You have access to the Zagreus machine. You can enter it like you can enter other things. And I just want to know, what does it feel like when you enter the Zagreus machine? First of all, like, how did you get past its defenses? And then what was it like when you finally got inside?
So, if I can, I have a nostalgic move clue that I get to define from last session.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So could I work that into this?
Sure, go for it. Yeah.
So I think that what they do to kind of get through, like, just initially to kind of punch into that barrier, they specifically take control of the main character, so that now they are the main character and are part of this. But I think the stick kind of starts moving on its own and buttons are being pushed on their own. The kid playing it is like, what the hell, man? And like smacking the side of the machine or whatever, as Topher walks to a door that wasn't there on the screen before Topher took control. And as they sort of look at this door, they feel around in their pockets and a little inventory icon comes up on the screen. And we see in the inventory, there is a key to this door. And on the key, it says Galaxia Arcade. And Topher pulls out the keys to the arcade and opens the door inside of Zagreus.
Nice. What was the clue there?
That the keys to Galaxia Arcade are inside Zagreus.
Very good. Interesting. Intriguing. This is a thing you will have to reveal in Odyssey tape to get it to be usable in a theory, but I'm into it. Okay, so let's talk about the dusk phase. Do you all think you are going to be interested in answering a question about the Deep Lake Lurker today, or do you want to wait till next week?
I don't have a theory, but I'm fine because we have like quite a lot of clues there. So I don't think we'll be investigating further.
Yeah, I could
think
see
we
us
can-
making a theory for it. Yeah.
Why don't we take 10 minutes then, so that you all can think about your theory and we can discuss it when we get back. Okay.
Cool.
Okay, it is the dusk phase. Do we have any moves that resolve during the dusk phase? Very well then. Are we going to watch an Odyssey tape or not? I will say, in the interest of time, watching an Odyssey tape is probably the best move in order to get a night phase done. But it's okay if you'd rather not. So what do we think?
I'm okay watching a tape if we wanna.
I do love a good tape.
Oh, so
If
yeah,
we're going to
Go
if we're going to solve Deep Lake Lurker, we have a VCR there too.
at the camp we do.
You do? Yeah.
Do we wait? Did we hear what the rule for watching, what we get for watching it there?
You don't
No,
know
or
what
you're
the
not
rule is
letting
there.
us know. Okay,
No.
cool. You were nice by letting us know about Escondido. Everything else is a secret.
Oh, well, no, just if you do it, I'll tell you that you.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but you haven't done it yet. So
Okay.
Okay, so watching a tape at Loon Cabin sounds like a good plan. I will tell you, Topher, as you were walking out of the Galaxia arcade, there was someone who can see your dog, petting your dog. They are wearing a hoodie and a strange mask in the shape of a bull's head. And they have a heavy backpack on as well. And after they're done petting your dog, they reach into the backpack and give the dog that distinctive purple clamshell of an Odyssey tape. And your pup brings you the Odyssey tape, which is this tape is going to be Neighborly Living 03, Cooking for Your Community, Pure White Extreme. If someone wants to note that down. And so you do have a number of tapes to choose from. Which of your tapes do you want to watch at the camp? You have Calamity, you have I Want My Video Beat, and you have this new one.
We could just make this a very Alex episode and do Calamity Raccoon.
Actually, funny
I
enough,
think that would be
the
great.
neighborly one is also mine.
Yeah,
too.
Alex for that one too. Yeah.
So I'm not voting because I have 2 tapes in this. You guys choose. I'm happy with whatever.
I mean, highest level warning for a Calamity Raccoon, big bad video games. I mean, come on.
Calamity Raccoons it is then, if there's no objections. So we'll do that one. I will give you the opportunity to answer a question about the Deep Lake Lurker if you wish. So let's go ahead and review the clues. The sunken ceremony is something spoken of, a strange ritual that goes on at the summer camp. A finger bone partially buried in the dirt. Chatter about Lauren seemingly dragged beneath the water, but then violently ejected. A girl's diary repeating, I am next. A disgusting pile of rotting organic matter, plants, and fish. Harvey Stosky found stone cairns made for each of the missing kids from back in the early 90s. And then we have the doll heads covered in algae. Your question is, how does the lake choose its victims? Resolve the mystery by confronting Jessica Stosky and then performing a ritual to break the curse on the lake. That is a complexity 4. So, who has a theory?
So I had, oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna ask if you wanted to take it away, actually.
Yeah, I have a theory because Ashley is the next victim. I think the lurker chooses its victim because they all have a fundamental core lie that they tell themselves. And the sunken ceremony, we talked about it a little bit earlier, and we said that like it used to be like an actual, occult ceremony with sacrifice or like partial sacrifice, but now it's like almost like a game of chicken or truth or dare of the children, and they play it together, and everybody has to like say one really honest thing that they have never told anyone before, like that kind of thing. And I think we will learn that Jessica didn't play it, or had like a huge fight and then didn't properly do it, but Lauren did. Like she took part of in the sunken ceremony, and she told something embarrassing or whatever. And then I think going with that, I think the girl that kept repeating like I am next, like maybe not fully, but like sort of figured it out. And I think like the desperately writing down like I am next was sort of this desperate attempt of like, look, I'm telling you the truth. I understand. I'm like trying to confess now. Don't take me. But of course, by that point, it was too late. I
I have
don't really have anything for the others if anybody else
Yeah.
has something.
I actually have some things I wanted to tack onto that and grab a couple others as well. I like the idea that the tween girls diary, I am next. I think specifically part of the sunken ceremony is that like, it's like, you got to do it. And part of, the kids thing is like, if you don't do it, and you're gonna, its eyes are on you. And if you dream about eyes under the water watching you, it's already too late. And so like, the kids who are like, okay, I'm not doing this. And then, this girl, she had the dream of eyes and lake, and she's like, is that actually gonna happen? Oh my God, let me do this thing. That's that. But the disgusting pile of rotting organic matter, plants and fish, I have something for that, because Ben has inspired a horrifying idea that I want to lean into now, because since we established it to transform Jessica Stosky, I like the idea of this the entity that's merged with her. It's like she kind of resembles a mermaid now, like a horrifying cephalopod mermaid, kind of chitinous and all that. But the pile of rotting organic matter, plants and fish, ties into an idea I have for the stone cairns, which there is some like old person in Deep Lake who does kind of remember like this was never done in their lifetime, but like remembers like the old significance of the sunken ceremony, and is the one who built those stone cairns for the missing, and into this day still in vain attempts is trying to feed and keep it satiated, and keep her satiated. And the rotting organic like matter is all this like this discharge, because this person doesn't realize it's a transformed person. It's not just an entity that is observing people from the outside. It is like, it's essentially Jessica is coming up out of the water, and like they cannot consume this matter, and just kind of, it just ends up getting like ejected, essentially, like, just it cannot be passed through her. But like, and so that's more of like an explain away as to how it like applies to like the selected victims. So that's just an idea I had for it.
And I think that the doll heads are all like named like American Girl dolls, and
Mhm.
all of those dolls have the same names of one of the victims.
Oh, interesting. Intriguing. Okay, so this is an interesting theory. So let's recap. The question is, how does the lake choose its victims? And we're saying that the lake chooses its victims via this like game that the kids play, the sunken ceremony. What was
Or rather it's like it chooses its victims because like based on kids who have some sort of deep secret that they're lying to themselves about, it selects those kind of kids, those who have, and the sunken ceremony has like is a way of like warding that off, and all the disappeared kids didn't do it. The finger bone is just evidence of like how in the past people used to like actually do like sacrifices or like cut off body parts as part of the ritual,
Yeah, like it used to be a real ritual, not just this like game, basically. Yeah.
And also like leaning in that Ashley found it but didn't, like tell the police. So like sort of again leaning into the people keeping secrets are the one who gets selected.
Yeah, that's interesting. Huh. Okay. And why was Lauren ejected from the water?
Because
because
she did the ceremony.
Yeah, she did participate, and she did tell like an embarrassing or whatever secret to the other kids.
Yeah, I like the toys explanation just being like a kind of indication of like just kind of representing the kids. What was the Cairns again?
I was thinking that maybe there's just some person in Deep Lake who kind of knows about what's going on with the lake, and just like has like made the cairns like just like to like memorialize the missing, and also like had previously attempted to like satiate the lurker prior to it merging. Yeah,
I'm kind of into that. And so yeah, that's really interesting. And that's also what the rotting matter was too. It's an attempt to satiate the creature, right? Interesting. And so then it sounds like we've sorted out the question, and the question is basically, yeah, the victims are people who don't play the sunken ceremony, right? Very interesting. And they are people who have secrets as well.
Yeah, like specifically a secret they're like lying to themselves about.
That's really interesting. Yeah, I like it. The clues seem pretty well explained and or explained away, or incorporated or explained away. I like that a lot. You would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is a good number of clues for a complexity 4. Who wants to roll it?
I think the next victim should roll it.
Go for it, Ashley.
Yay. Let's do myself.
It's a good roll at least. +3 is pretty easy.
It's a 7. That was a rough roll.
It was a 7 with +3.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. That was a bad roll. Okay. So you are now entitled to resolve the mystery by confronting whatever this creature Jessica Stosky has become, or whatever creature she's become, and then performing a ritual to break the curse on the lake. So what do we suppose the context of the ritual is then? Or what do you have to do?
We talked a little
So
bit about that, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I was thinking that to like sort of like satiate or appease the creature, we would all have to sacrifice a truth. Like we would all
Oh,
have to
good.
give it what it
Yeah.
wants, like sort of
Yeah.
like almost overfeed it because it's getting so much like deep dark truths at once, sort of.
Yeah,
I
so
like
it's
it,
like
yeah.
yeah, because like since it's a transformed Jessica, Jessica and this Watcher entity have merged into one being. Breaking the curse is not, getting rid of the fact that the lake has weird occult connections to other dimensions. It is simply by since these two entities effectively have merged into one, they're both not technically alive, they're one singular thing now. If we can essentially confront Jessica, do this thing that Jazzy mentioned, and get them to like separate and get this like this scared child and this hungry entity to break apart, they will both dissipate and go and fade away, and their presence is gone forever. Like Jessica passes on and the Watcher is effectively no more. The lake is no longer inhabited by a hungry entity.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, very good. Okay. Cool. So let's keep going here with our phase. So it sounds like you're all going to be basically just doing you're going to go to the lake and whisper your secrets, essentially. Is that the plan? Great. Love it.
Yeah, and watch a spooky tape while we do so.
Tape. Yeah.
Here's a
good.
great question. How do we watch it in the cabin? Like, do we assume that like maybe like
I mean,
it's a bonfire night at the camp, so everyone's out of their cabins anyway, so we're kind of like sneaking around the grounds?
I am a camp counselor now.
She's a camp
Oh
counselor now.
yeah.
Or it could just be like, I kind of like the idea of it's just like a bunch of the kids watching the tape while you're all doing this, right? Like that'd be kind of fun. That's
Well,
pretty cool.
kids, it's never you're never too young to be exposed to horrifying things.
Yeah, exactly.
Topher puts the keys to the camp on the table.
I love it. All right, so let's talk about the Odyssey tape itself. Actually, do we have any key prompts that need resolved? I don't know if we do.
I do. I think
do you?
that it would be cool though. So I marked the key of the child. I chose flashback to experiencing childhood trauma. I think it would be cool to incorporate that into the secret that is being told.
Oh,
into
okay,
the
sure.
lake.
Yeah, we can do it then. Yeah, sounds good. So our tape is entitled, I'll find it here. Where are we at? Calamity Raccoon 06 Big Bad Pure White Ultimate Highest Level Warning. This tape is an episode of The Musical Adventures of Calamity Raccoon, a Saturday morning cartoon about a fabled pizza farm that aired on TV Odyssey. The opening credits, backed by a catchy theme tune, introduces the scraggly Calamity Raccoon and his barnyard band, Farmer Roy, Clarice the cow, Pig Daddy, and Vincenzo the Italian pizza chef. Paint the scene is going to be everyone. Prompt 2 is going to be Alex. Prompt 3 is going to be Ben. Prompt 4 is going to be Steph. Let's take a 3-minute break, read, think fast, and then we'll come back and do our phase. It's the night phase. The 4 of you are on the banks of the lake, on Black Rock Beach, or maybe near the pier. Meanwhile, over in Loon Cabin, a bunch of the kids have gathered around the TV to watch a tape someone left for them. They're delighted when they see that it's a cartoon to start. Wait.
As the smiling sun rises over the technicolor fields and pastures on the pizza farm, we hear the first kind of lines of music, and we see the band practicing their new song. Anyone of a certain age and musical taste would recognize it as a cover of the Misfits' Die, Die, My Darling, but this is Pizza Pie, My Darling.
We see Farmer Roy. He kind of has like that very big smile and that wink to the audience that many kids cartoons have, and he takes out this very like over the top butcher's knife, and he whispers to the audience, "Let's scare little Pig Daddy, shall we?" And we see him just like all over the scene. He just pops up suddenly at the window of the barn, and Pig Daddy is scared. And then he pops up behind a tree, and he keeps popping up. But every single time it is closer and closer and closer to the camera.
Vincenzo is in the kitchen of the pizza farm, overwhelmed at 17 different things going on at once. Lone chef cooking clearly a great array of food for the entire barnyard band. And Vincenzo's like, "Mamma mia, there's not enough hands to make all of this pizza," and is just rapidly trying to go around and do this. And Calamity himself just goes, "Well, hey, Vincenzo, let me give you a hand with that," and begins to essentially like snickering, going around. And when Vincenzo turns around to do this, Calamity turns up the heat on the stove so the pot boils over, and Vincenzo goes, "Ah, Mamma mia," and like turns around, and then Calamity then begins to like, do a little hush at the camera as it just begins to like dump like toothpaste into the pizza sauce batter, and is just causing chaos in the kitchen.
I think that's Topher.
You're on mute.
Oh, you're muted.
Always. The camera zooms out through the open window of the kitchen and into a field where Clarice the cow is sat playing her cowbell. And I think that we see a as she's tapping the bell and making a beat, there are ants that are dancing around in a circle to this song, and she kind of starts directing them, like pointing like a conductor. The ants go marching one by one and two by two, and they start walking into the kitchen as Calamity is causing an excellent distraction and begin hauling out pizzas by the pie.
The kids pause the tape because there's someone knocking on the Loon Cabin door. Meanwhile, just one latchkey at a time, who's first into the water?
Ashley will go, if only so nobody else is too.
Sean's hanging back.
Ashley, what do you do?
I think Ashley wades into the water. And I think she has not been on board with this theory. Not saying that it's wrong, but just like, it's silly, guys. It's a children's game. It's not going to be it. And I think she looks back over her shoulder and I think she just says, Jessica, they say you want a memory, so I guess I'll tell you about my dad. He really loved the lake. This one, and like always, wherever we went when we moved, he always was so happy when he found the lake, and he used to take me here. He wasn't great at fishing. I don't even really think he cared, but he took me, and I watched the birds. I always watched the birds while he fished, and I think she kind of trails off, and I guess that's not what you want, huh? Fine. I'll tell you a secret. I know that he loved me. And I know that it wasn't enough. And I know now that my love isn't enough either. And I think that's her secret.
The kids press play on the tape, delighted because when they opened the door to Loon, there was a big stack of pizzas sitting on the stoop. And so now they've got pizza to watch their cartoon with. Play.
Meanwhile, elsewhere, away from the pizza farm, there is a quaint little shack that has a weather vane rooster perched on its top. Dark storm clouds gathering in the west, slowly blowing across the background. And we see inside, this is the quaint homestead, a cozy cottage, if you will, of 3 smaller looking pigs. They all look completely identical, save for the different colors of their overalls. One of them is lounging in a net hammock, just one of them is seemingly working some sort of cook stove, and the third one is just kind of like idly looking bored. These are Pig Daddy's 3 little nephews, Figgy, Wiggy, and Poe. And Poe says, the one who looks bored says, well, I'm getting kind of bored, guys. What are we gonna do today? The Barnyard Band sounds like they're having a great time. Wiggy, who's up in the hammock, says, I just want to sleep all day. I don't want to do nothing. They can get up to whatever hijinks they want. And Figgy says, well, I don't know about you guys, but I'm feeling kind of hungry, and is currently in the midst of baking a meat pie in the oven. Outside, as the dark shadows have creeped in closer towards the cabin, we see the winding dirt drive that leads up to the front door, and a long shadow begins to stretch up the path. Furred, pointy ears, long snout, long arms, and longer fingers that end in sharp claws, snakes up the pathway and darkens the doorstep. The silhouette, or rather the shadow, just standing perfectly, filling the door's frame. And as if it was animated from a first-person perspective, a great furred paw comes forward. Donk, 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 knocks 3 times. Inside, we hear Wiggy go, well, sure sounds like someone's at the door. And Poe goes, well, no kidding, and gets up and trots over to the front door and opens it. And the tape glitches for a brief moment and just replays that opening animation a few times. And we see this tall, animated, hairy wolf of black fur, so cartoonishly animated, like from a classic Disney cartoon, just lurching in the doorway with bright red, hungry eyes and a too wide smile. And Figgy looks over his shoulder and says, "Oh," it's like, "Well, how can we help you, mister?" And the wolf just turns its head slightly with a light tilt and steps inside. And Wiggy goes, "Now, wait a minute. I think that's Mr. Big Bad. What brings you to the..." And immediately, the frame rate of animation increases quite a bit to show extra detail and motion here as the wolf, Mr. Big Bad, throwing himself into the cabin, begins to graphically murder the 3 little pig nephews of Pig Daddy. We see him charge forward and grabbing Poe by the throat, twisting his head off and pulling it in a great splatter of blood, his little cartoonish spine jutting out from the stump as his hand just like move off to the side as he just is like flopping on the ground. And he opens the oven and shoves Figgy into it and closes it. And the camera lingers too long on Figgy inside the oven, turning to charred, burning alive, and screaming, eyes melting. And then he turns to Wiggy and just approaches him slowly, dripping with blood. But we don't see what happens to Wiggy because the camera footage cuts and it stops being animation, as the tape is now showing real footage of a slaughterhouse, of pigs being gutted at a slaughterhouse, and specifically by someone wearing a full body wolf costume, killing pigs, bleeding them, and you just hear animal screams, real animal screams in traumatizing slaughterhouse footage.
Kids pause the tape. They're freaked out. And then they hear the wolf howling in the distance, somewhere in the woods. You all hear the wolf in the distance as well. Who's next to offer their secrets to the lake?
I think Nathan looks very uncomfortable in his swim trunks. He's kind of like wading into the water, just kind of like curled up. Sean, are you getting in the water or not?
Yeah. And John will pull off his shirt and kick off his shoes and follow Nathan in.
I think actually Nathan is gonna he opens his mouth to start talking, but then I think Sean could probably realize that he actually is kind of stuck and his brain's not working. So you're welcome to do this here if you want to.
He'll look at Nathan and then say, that guy I told you about, the one who kind of showed up at the house, Mark, I know he was a piece of shit. He was mean, and he thought I was a stupid child, and I know he wasn't a good guy, isn't a good guy, but he chose me, and no one chose me before, and I don't know. And he'll reach into his pocket and he'll pull out the little ring case, and I don't think I ever thought I deserved more than that. And he'll toss the ring into the lake.
After Daniel Kwan gets the kids to process their fear in an efficient and helpful way, and after some breathing exercises, the kids press play.
As Mr. Big Bad's reign of terror spreads across the countryside, and the footage goes back to cartoon from the horrific slaughterhouse footage. We see Calamity standing amidst the other barnyard band as they run around in terror. And he rises to the stage that they'd been practicing on, and a rousing reprise of Pizza Pie, My Darling starts playing. And he says, "Don't cry because of him now, pals. Our future's in a big flat box. Yeah. Don't cry for him now, friends. Pizza pie, my darlings. Don't fear that mean old wolf. Pizza pie, my darlings." And at this, he holds up an oversized pizza cutter, and the light glints on the razor edge. We'll shut that big bad's mouth.
The kids pause the tape because there's a knocking on the door of Loon. Boom, boom, boom. Who's next to make their offering to the lake?
I can go. Nathan standing there after Sean speaks. And then he's kind of silent for a moment, and he says, I don't really know what to say. No, we need you here. And you're going to show up so we can make sure that this is not just some kid's ritual. We are going to do this. He looks at his fellow latchkeys and says, we're going to do this, but you need to be here so we can tell this to your face. This isn't a game, Jessica. Jessica, you need to come here. I'll happily tell you my secret, but you need to be here first because we're not just talking to the lake. Stop hiding and show us your face. And yeah, we have secrets and we're willing to tell you them, but there is going to be more to this than just secrets, okay? These people, they are my friends and we are helping each other. And I don't talk about it a lot, I don't say a lot, but I care about them. I care about them a lot. And you can hear our secrets, but you can't have them because we don't need to give them up. Some of us may be lying to ourselves. Some of us may be hiding things from others. That doesn't fucking matter. You're scared. Everyone's scared. And then I think at that, like Nathan's gonna like kind of like walk up next to Ashley and like grab her hand if she's okay with it and look at her and say, "You are enough." And then looks at Sean and says, "You deserve to be paid attention to. You are worthy of that." And I don't know where Topher is, but Topher's probably got something going on. So, yeah. Weird moment of defiance from Nathan to confront a lake monster.
I think if it's okay, may Ashley have like a camcorder that we bought that she's like holding up above her hand to show the lake so Topher can be here.
The kids press play. Some of them are standing in the doorway, looking at the shadowy figure in the threshold, the darkened threshold, you might say. The tape is playing.
We see a shot of Mr. Big Bad. He is in the First National Pepperoni Bank, and he's currently fat and happy, covered in viscera and gore on top of the teller's tables. And as Calamity and the Barnyard Band walk in to the First National Pepperoni Bank, we see Calamity with his razor sharp pizza slicer. We see Clarice with a enormous cowbell club. Vincenzo with a pizza pan shield and meat tenderizer warhammer. And Farmer Roy with a pitchfork and a torch. And Pig Daddy is he's sat outside. He's crying. He's pretty upset right now. We don't need to worry about him. He'll be fine, but he just needs some time. And as those of the Barnyard Band who aren't racked with guilt and grief enter, the camera zooms in on Calamity Raccoon, who says, "It's time to cut the cheese." And they all rush toward Mr. Big Bad, who still very sluggishly and lethargically after his huge meal of bank people, sort of lumbers up and looks at the lot of them and says, "And who's afraid of the big bad wolf?" And starts stepping, lumbering towards the lot of them. And Calamity jumps onto his huge distended belly and starts just carving into his gut, ripping out the pieces of those last meals still digesting. The big bad wolf howls in rage as he grabs Calamity and throws him off. Calamity lands right into a Zagreus arcade machine that has a large picture inside of that machine that shows the keys to Galaxia Arcade. And as Calamity hits that arcade machine, it breaks, and we hear the deafening tones of an enormous cowbell as Clarice charges down the big bad and bonks him right on the head so hard that it kind of concaves into his shoulders. And so Mr. Big Bad is now kind of walking around, shoulders up to his ears, swiping almost blindly and certainly deafly at the Barnyard Band as Mr. Farmer Roy tosses the torch onto the matted, bloody, grizzled fur of Mr. Big Bad, who then lights up and begins shrieking and howling. And at that point, Vincenzo walks up and shoves him to the side with the pizza pan and just kneecaps him with the meat tenderizer. His Mr. Big Bad's knees go out from under him like they're bending backwards like a horse's legs, and he collapses and tumbles on the floor. And Pig Daddy walks in and squeals this defiant, rage-filled squeal as the scene once again turns back to that picture of the slaughterhouse, and this time a man in a pig suit is feeding a wolf carcass into a wood chipper. And as the animation style returns, we see it's zoomed in on this pile of viscera, of fur and bone. And as it zooms out in an iris wide shot, we see one of the claws twitching ever so slightly, and then it cuts out.
Indeed, the video has a little coda at the end that none of the kids see because they are preoccupied presently. The coda shows the lake, its waters black and glistening, and rising up out of the water is Harvey Stosky, but dressed in the weird, oversized coveralls and gloves of Mr. Big Bad. He rises up out of the water and says, "And now, boys and girls, it's time to go to sleep." Sean, Nathan, and Ashley, you are all asleep on Black Rock Beach. You all take the condition I dream of Deep Lake, which we'll talk about later. Topher, you still have to make your offering. But before you get a chance to, and here's your complication for your 7, you start to hear screams coming from the cabin. Complete the ritual or save the kids. Your choice.
Ooh. I think that we see the camcorder is on the ground next to Ashley as she's asleep. And we see the reflection of Topher in Deep Lake's, in the lake itself. The camera doesn't see Topher, but just the reflection. And the reflection turns and looks toward Ashley, Sean, and Nathan, and then back toward the cabin. And I think that Topher starts crying, a bit of a tear streaming down her face as she stands. The camera that we, the audience, is looking through now sees Topher as they bend over and hug Ashley and say, "I'm so sorry. I can't let them die." And she starts running to Loon Cabin. As she does, she remembers what she was going to tell Jessica, the worst moment of her life. She remembers being outside a Goodwill with her mom and her dad. She had just picked out a new keyboard, well, new to them keyboard, and was very excited to get home and start messing with it because they've always been interested in that kind of thing. As they're walking up to their car, a man in a hoodie and a balaclava jumps out from the corner and shoves Topher down and pulls out a firearm and points it at his mother and says, "I need everything in your purse right now, or your kid's going to have to grow up without a mom." And Topher's crying. His mom is stunned, completely just frozen in fear. And the mugger says, "Now, lady," to which Topher's dad tackles the man. The camera doesn't pick it up, but we hear a gunshot and there is a pool of red blood steadily growing off just out of frame. And Topher keeps running to the cabin as he remembers watching this hooded balaclava man running away from the scene of the murder that he just committed.
Topher, you managed to stop Harvey Stosky from massacring the kids in Loon, warning them perhaps to escape, perhaps knocking something over on him. But Emily Beaumont and Joey Keene are able to subdue him with your help, though they don't realize you helped. And the kids are safe. But Jessica Stosky swims back to the center of the lake. Her work here is not yet done. That concludes the night phase. Topher, you also take I Dream of Deep Lake, which is the thing we'll talk about next time. Let's go to the dawn. We're a little past time, but so if anybody has to go, we'll catch up with you later, but we'll do the dawn real quick. No rewards. No mystery was resolved. However, We do get to answer Dawn questions. Ashley, were you vulnerable with someone?
Yeah, I would say both with Nathan and I guess with Jessica in a strange way.
I would say so too. Did you share a good memory from your childhood?
Yeah, I think also with Jessica, because that's how Ashley started off, right? Like with something happy,
Yeah.
trying to ignore the thing.
Nathan, you were definitely vulnerable. Did you share a good memory from your childhood?
I don't think so. I do believe I got a signal though.
Oh yeah.
so-
Oh yeah. What was your signal?
I remember doing it now. Of course, you're asking me. I forget. It was something. I thought I put one in there. Hold on. I think it was
Knocking?
Oh
was
yeah.
knocking at the door, and then you also narrated knocking, I
Yes.
think.
I mean, yeah, because beforehand, Jason, you had said that someone was knocking at the cabin door, so I did incorporate.
Yeah.
That was technically part of the prompt already, but I mean, I'll take
No,
it.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
it's fine. No, I'm okay with it.
Okay, cool.
Topher, did you share a good memory from your childhood? You shared a bad one.
Yeah, not a good one.
Were you vulnerable with someone?
I think with Ashley
Well, they're
in
at
a
the
weird
end.
way.
Yeah, at the end. Yeah, for sure. Sean, did you get a signal from the other side?
I changed my lyrics to include the pizza box.
Very good. Did you go out of your way to reconnect with Deep Lake? You kind of did with the literal Deep Lake.
I was thinking the arcade, but that works too.
No, the arcade is probably the better answer. Were you vulnerable with someone?
I think so, with Jessica and the latchkeys.
Indeed. Great run today on XP. Mark New Dawn questions if you wish. Do we have any key prompts that are unmarked presently? Very well. Stars and wishes.
Stars for Calamity Raccoon, the Odyssey tape. Fucking phenomenal job, Alex. Really great writing. I do always love a good excuse to just go hog wild and make a really nasty, grody segment. So that loved that. Also just stars for you, Jason, for the mesa in the closet, combining that with the Odyssey tape. That was really fucking inspired. That was great. I am honestly forgetting that we just had that this was one session. So much happened. It was so incredible. I really also I loved the random person just, oh yeah, I can see Ghost Dog. I love Ghost Dog. Here's tape Ghost Dog. That's great. That's great. Good for me. And I also really loved Ashley and Nathan's nostalgic move. It was really cute, and I'm sorry, I'm bad with words is absolutely going to be like, Ray already knows that Nathan's going to be famous. That's going to be what he's famous for. That's going to be his catchphrase. And just, I also really, really loved the scene with Sean throwing the ring into the lake. That was so incredibly strong, like in both senses, like narratively strong. And it was also very like emotionally mature and strong of Sean to do. It was a very cool, departure from the more stoic stoic is not the exact word, but like, I guess reserved Sean that we've seen. As far as wishes go, I am excited to introduce the latchkeys to Topher's long lost dog that disappeared when they were a kid. And turns out they disappeared just into the signals or whatever. I'm also very excited for more Zagreus and just see what's up inside of this arcade machine. What's going on here? It's gonna be super fun.
I can go. The way that you described Topher sleeping in the mattress commercials stuff was just that was so charming and so cute, and I love the way that you were leaning into Topher's condition, and the tape dog. Looking forward to seeing more of Mr. W, and how I'm actually really intrigued how you will use that move with a ghost dog. That's a wish, I guess. As mentioned, the scene with Nathan and Ashley was great. You both bring such the way that you play these scenes when you have them together, from yelling at each other in the car to this little makeup scene, it's just great to be witness to. I'm sitting here with popcorn, and it just adds so much lovely character work to this little party. It's a lot of fun and moving. Jason, a star for not letting us resolve this mystery. That was a twist I did not see coming. That was great. A wish. I'm just looking forward to more Zagreus. I want to know what's the secret. What's the secret?
Big stars to Jason too for the big man moment, because I fucking love the big man. Having him make us breakfast is amazing. That was so good. But star for Topher for the Denny's commercial breakfast participation, and then arguing about the whole like commercial thing was really funny. Topher's in a whole different genre right now, and it's great. This is, oh my god. Yeah, my heart is breaking for Sean with his kind of revelation to the lake, and just like admitting that. I mean, especially in the aftermath of what happened at 18 Escondido, like, damn, that hit really well. So that was really cool. Sean feels so like, I mean, everyone's characters here feel really complicated, but like Sean has like a lot going on there that just like makes me like a heartbreak for him. God, Jazzy, just keep putting knives in my heart, why don't you? With Ashley's thing about like the love wasn't enough, and I'm like dying over here. She's going through so much right now, but like specifically my star is that moment of just like at the lake, of just her willingness to like suddenly just like, I am going to drop this with, like, normally she's like so reserved and closed up about like revealing those things. But like here, she's like, yeah, I'm going to do it. Okay. That's not looking okay. I'm bullshitting you. Yeah. I'm going to be upfront with you. That was like a really sudden moment of just like, she is letting that whole thing drop, which was like really cool for her character. Wishes. I mean, also just general sorry. I loved everyone's taped narrations for the 2 tapes we got today. And wishes. I can't wait to resolve this actually and deal with how this could possibly be worse. And I'm always excited for more big man.
Yeah, for my wishes, holy fuck, that mask. How dare you? Like, you owe me a cupcake and a note that says I'm sorry. I'm not okay. Like, in a good way. I was like, I did not see that coming. And I love it so much, and it's horrifying. And I love that most people have like gone with a very, like, there's a lot of supernatural, creepy, cosmic stuff happening, but I love that most of the past prompts have been like real life things that could, happen to people. Which I think is just like a very nice contrast, and just like awful, like what the hell. And I think your narration was just like so well done. That was great. I also really love like Topher taking that little moment, and I just think it's so fascinating that he apologized to Ashley for saving the kids, because I mean, obviously that's what Ashley would have yelled at you to do, right? So I think it's like, it was just like this beautiful like movie moment, but also just like, I think a very interesting character choice to like have that conflict and make it so heavy, but then, like, obviously you got to save the kids. I thought that was really great. yeah, for I loved everybody's scene at the lake. I loved how how everyone approached it. Like Ashley first by trying to bullshit her way through and then being like, okay, fine, whatever, I'll do it. And sort of like trying to set that example. And then I think like Sean stepping in like very maturely being like, also like almost as a reaction to Nathan to like help Nathan. And then like very maturely and like throwing the ring. And then like Nathan, because while it was like a rare defiant moment, I think it makes total sense because Nathan has always had these like absolutely fucking not reactions to all the supernatural, right? Like it makes total sense for me for Nathan to be like, no, you don't, no, this doesn't make sense. Like if you want me to bare my soul, you're gonna have to look me in the face. You know, like that's not how you act. It's not how you do it. And I just like thought everyone like just such strong character moments, which is kind of why I wanted this to be the answer to the thing. And then everybody just delivered like so perfectly. Also, yeah, the fucking mug. I was I'm not gonna cope for like the rest of the week. That was so cute. And I also really loved like Sean being like the gamer with the everything like falling down. Like, I got this. I'm a gamer. I can do this. I really like that moment of it, like jumping down. It was so cool. And then for Jason, I mean, you brought back Daniel, so perfect. Like it helped letting the kids do breathing exercises. I just love him so much. But I think like I echo everything that's been said, but to like pinpoint something else, I also really loved the de-aged Casey. I really love that because I think it hit that perfect note of being both, sad because supernatural stuff. He's not with his family anymore. He's like the age. There's obviously something supernatural going on, but then at the same time also being somewhat sweet because obviously this messed him up a lot and he missed his friend to like the extent of asking total strangers to go investigate a house, and now he's back with that friend and he kind of gets to relive that childhood. So I thought that was just like on the theme of the whole game and everything was just perfect and a very bittersweet resolution to it all. And then for wishes, yeah, I really want the lake to fuck up Ashley because she's got like 2 conditions related to the lake now. So I'm very interested to see how awful this is all gonna go for her, and I'm also very interested to see in her reaction because I don't think that she's gonna cope well with having to bare her soul and then getting nothing in return for it, and then kids were attacked, which is not cool. So I think that's definitely gonna lean into Ashley's rising temper and all of that. So I am very interested to see that.
Stars, I had a really this is a great time. It was a great session. There was so much that happened in this session. It was just packed out with things, and it felt very like kind of like the crescendo to something that was building up to this point, and it kind of exploded today. So I really enjoyed that. I also really loved the nostalgic move scene with Ashley and Nathan. That was terrific. I enjoyed everyone's contributions to both of the tapes. The tapes were great. It was very fun to sort of like, because this was the first time that the tapes were like kind of they were like almost like predicting what was happening in the scene a little bit, right? Or like anticipating it or like affecting it in a really direct way. And I thought that was great. That was just really fun to do. It was enjoyable, and everyone's descriptions were just really, really on point. Yeah, lots of like very good feels when you were all telling your secrets to the lake. Everyone did a great job with that. Loved all the little, I continue to love the little funny details of Topher and how Topher processes the world, like with the commercials and stuff. That was all really good fun. Yeah, and the scene with Big Man was really fun. It was enjoyable to kind of have this really extended kind of like personal scene with him, with everybody. And so that was kind of cool. yeah, there was just a lot to really enjoy here. For wishes, I'm very excited to talk to you all about I Dream of Deep Lake. It's a kind of a big deal thing in the game that's going to take place. I'm actually really excited for you all to get back to the Starlight Kingdom. Actually, Starlight Kingdom's been a little bit left on the back burner a bit, so I'd like to we only kind of touched it before, so it'd be nice to kind of get back to it, as well as to get deeper with Zacharias. And I'm also curious, like, what are you going to do about the Deep Lake Lurker now, right? Like, what is the fact that you didn't complete the ritual? What does that mean? Like, is Jessica Stosky going to become more of a direct problem? Like, what's the deal with her dad who tried to kill a bunch of kids? Like, there's a lot of shit going on with the Deep Lake Lurker. Like, it feels like that mystery just got like way worse than what it was. And so so that was I think it'll be exciting to see how it plays out. I think that's all I got. Are there any other stars or wishes?
I forgot to mention, huge star for the tiny little Kiss the Cook apron on the big man.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, perfect. I would kiss the cook. You know what? I would. It would be gross, but I'd suffer for it.
I was proud of
I'd
that,
love
and sunny side up eggs as well.
Very good.
I guess Nathan doesn't need to be Harvey's wingman anymore.
No, you do not, unless it becomes like more of a pen pal in jail kind of thing.
Get me out of prison, man.
Yeah. Fabulous. All right, well, I will look forward to seeing you all next week. Let's wave goodbye.